The Galactic Council had issued 17 warnings about Earth's apex predators. Commander Ari of the Valorian fleet had memorized every single one. Canis lupus familiaris, descended from pack hunters, bite force sufficient to crush bone, trained for warfare across human history, approach with extreme caution. Yet here stood Ari, frozen in the doorway of the human research station, watching the very creature from those warnings trotting happily beside the human scientist named Kira, a woven basket clenched gently in its jaws. "You're early," Kira said, glancing up from her datapad. She wore the easy smile of someone completely unaware they were courting death. "Biscuit and I were just heading to the gardens. Want to join, Biscuit?" The human had named the killing machine Biscuit. Ari's chromatophores flickered yellow with anxiety, the Valorian equivalent of a nervous laugh. The creature, Biscuit, tilted its head, ears perked forward, tail sweeping back and forth like a metronome of friendliness. It dropped the basket at Kira's feet and sat tongue lolling, looking absurdly pleased with itself. That's a dog," Ari managed, their translator struggling to convey the mixture of terror and confusion in their voice. "Well, yes, golden retriever specifically. Best species in the universe, if you ask me." Kira reached down and scratched behind Biscuit's ears. The dog's back leg began thumping against the floor in ecstasy. "Aren't you, girl?" "Yes, you are." Ari had seen combat. They'd survived the siege of Praxis III, commanded troops through the Nebula conflicts, earned decorations for valor in situations that would have broken lesser beings. But nothing in their military career had prepared them for the cognitive dissonance of watching humanity's supposedly vicious companion animal, acting like a servant desperate for approval. The report said, Ari began. "Oh, let me guess," Kira interrupted, straightening up. "Dangerous predator? Bred for hunting and war? Unpredictable aggressor?" She sighed. "The Council really needs to update those files. Come on, I'll show you." Against every instinct screaming in their combat-trained mind, Ari followed. The research station's gardens sprawled across 3 biodomes, each containing plant species from across the galaxy. Kira had been stationed here for 2 standard years, studying cross-species botanical compatibility. Boring work by most accounts, but the Council needed human expertise after humanity had somehow managed to grow food on 17 uninhabitable worlds. Biscuit padded alongside them, occasionally pausing to sniff at interesting plants, but always returning to Kira's side with the basket still held carefully in her mouth. "Humans domesticated dogs about 40,000 years ago," Kira explained, leading them past rows of Andromedan spiral ferns. "We took wolves, yes, actual wolves, and over thousands of years turned them into companions. Different breeds for different purposes. Biscuit's ancestors were bred to retrieve waterfowl for hunters. Hence the soft mouth." "Soft mouth?" Ari's chromatophores pulsed confused purple. Kira took the basket from Biscuit and pulled out an egg, fragile, thin-shelled. She held it toward the dog. "Biscuit, gentle." The dog's jaws opened and Ari nearly activated their personal shield. But Biscuit simply closed her mouth around the egg with such delicate precision that when Kira retrieved it seconds later, it remained completely intact, not even a crack in the shell. 40,000 years, Kira repeated, of breeding not for aggression but for cooperation, for trust, for love, really. Ari stared at the egg, then at the dog, then back at Kira. "Your species took predators and taught them to be gentle." "We took predators and made them family," Kira corrected. She reached into her pocket and produced a treat. Biscuit's entire body wiggled with anticipation. The Council sees the teeth and the heritage and assumes danger. But they miss the bigger picture, which is that humans don't just survive alongside predators, we befriend them. We earn their loyalty. We build relationships based on mutual respect and care. Kira tossed the treat, and Biscuit caught it mid-air with the same precision she'd shown with the egg. Every species in the galaxy seems to think the scary part about humans is that we're persistence hunters, or that we come from a death world, or that we're crazy enough to eat food that's literally trying to kill us. "It's not?" Ari asked, watching Biscuit now rolling on her back in a patch of synthetic sunlight, completely vulnerable, completely trusting. "Oh, that's all true," Kira laughed. "But the really terrifying part? We don't just survive in harsh conditions, we make those conditions love us back. We turn enemies into friends, competitors into partners. You can't beat humans in a long game because we'll just convince your descendants to join our side." Ari thought about the wolves that became dogs, About the Terran horses they'd read about, prey animals that somehow learned to carry humans into battle. About the Terran cats that, according to reports, had domesticated themselves because living with humans was just too advantageous to pass up. The Council fears you because you're resilient, Ari said slowly, understanding dawning, but they should fear you because you're infectious. Infectious? Kira raised an eyebrow. Your way of thinking, your ability to form bonds. 3 cycles ago you arrived at this station. Now half the Valorian staff brings you gifts from their home worlds. The Centauran botanist calls you sister friend. Even our station commander, the one who initially opposed your assignment, asks your advice on crew morale. Kira's smile softened. People respond to genuine care, Ari. Doesn't matter if they're human, Valorian, or... She gestured to Biscuit. Genetically modified wolves. Treat others with respect. Show them you value them, and most will return it tenfold. Biscuit had rolled to her feet and was now pressing her head against Ari's leg, looking up with liquid brown eyes. Ari's chromatophores flickered uncertainty, yellow mixed with pink curiosity. She likes you, Kira observed. I don't know the protocols for this interaction. Just pet her, behind the ears or along the back. She'll let you know if you're doing it right. Tentatively, Ari extended a hand and touched the dog's head. The fur was softer than expected, warm. Biscuit's tail began wagging harder and she leaned into the touch. Something in Ari's chest, some ancient Valorian social center that recognized pack bonding across species lines, responded with unexpected warmth. The Council should see this, Ari murmured. They wouldn't believe it without seeing it themselves, Kira said. But you're welcome to file a report. Include holovids if you want, though I suspect they'll still issue warnings about Biscuit being a dangerous predator. Perhaps, Ari agreed, scratching behind Biscuit's ears exactly how Kira had demonstrated. The dog's expression could only be described as blissful. Or perhaps they'll finally understand what makes humanity truly formidable. What's that? Ari looked up, their chromatophores settling into sincere blue. You don't conquer. You befriend, and somehow that's infinitely more powerful. Kira smiled and whistled. Biscuit immediately returned to her side and Kira handed the basket back to the dog. Come on, girl. Let's show Commander Ari the rest of the gardens. And maybe... She glanced at Ari with a conspiratorial grin. We can teach them to throw a ball. Biscuit loves fetch. As Ari followed the human and her killing machine deeper into the gardens, watching the dog prance along with her human's lunch basket like it was the greatest honor in the universe, they composed a mental note for their report. File update recommendation. Canis lupus familiaris. Yes, descended from apex predators. Yes, capable of violence. But more importantly, humanity's oldest friend, most loyal companion, and living proof that humans can turn anything into family. Recommend Council observe before judging. Also recommend bringing treats. Human Kira suggests liver snacks are preferred. The killing machine, meanwhile, was busy being a very good girl.